Where are your guys' AIs?
It's a bit limited, huh?
I hope mine can handle it.
Yeah, I need to get myself into faith on things. It's okay.
Oh my
Oliver
God.
will be here in just a moment too. Not his AI, just actual Oliver, I think.
Okay,
At
that's
some
good.
point, we won't be able to distinguish the difference.
Well, we won't need to meet. We'll just have our AI agents.
Yeah, you think that these agents are just learning in a phase that they are just learning for us, so they can represent us in few years from now, and we actually can bring the AI to expose ourselves to, may not take decisions, but explain whatever the context is available there.
Probably. Probably. I mean, I think we
And
could already do it now.
I mean, they will have to represent also voice and things, right? And be responsive to what we are sharing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they have the capability today.
I mean, we probably will be able to, but I got an interesting feedback from someone about coherence. I don't know who it was, but someone saying that, being part of these conversations, like being in it, is so much more valuable than like kind of getting an abstract or even watching a recording. Like it's a completely different experience, and in the end, I think this is really the key, that we have these kind of interactions, because
Yeah.
it's all about the relationship. So whatever we do with AI, it should be there to support connection and relationships.
Yeah, so that means that I will send my AI agent to meetings that actually don't give a shit about the connection.
Motherfucker. Completely dismissing my point. Thank you.
No, I'm just complimenting your point with but with the other part. I mean, there are that kind of boring meetings that, yeah, we need to be there, but it's like actually like
I don't have
I
these kind of meetings.
no, yeah, well, I worked 9 years in corporations for being able to tell you that yes, that kind of
Maybe,
things
maybe,
happen sometimes.
maybe when we want to interface with the old world, then it's nice to send an army of AI agents. When you have to go to really boring meetings where there's no
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Then okay.
Exactly, that's my point. Yeah, yeah. Hello, Oliver. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you, Gustavo. Yeah,
Good to see you guys.
beautiful view. Where are you?
I'm in Austria, like 45 minutes close to Vienna. This is the Commons Hub. Not sure if you guys have heard about this place.
Nice.
It is kind of, I don't know how to describe it. Let's say it's kind of an hotel from the 18th century kind of things. And they have it now, and it's more like, yeah, they have like, I don't know, 30 beds in this place and a lot of open space here in the main floor. So we're now having a conference about collaborative finances.
Cool. Awesome.
So yeah, it's very cool. So I don't know. Let's start maybe a little bit to present ourselves. I need to tell you guys that I haven't followed Hive. I have no much idea about what you guys are doing. I'm super curious to listen from you guys. Um, I'm guessing that you know at least a little bit about what Collabberry is, or if not, I'm guessing that you just got you just talked with Victor, and Victor was like, "Talk to this guy," and that's the reason why I'm here. That's highly likely, which is okay. Um, and me myself, phew, yeah, I was sharing before that I used to work for a big corporation. I did telco engineering in one of my past life. 2016, I discovered crypto that blew my mind, and I started to just be fully on board in crypto, mainly for generating culture. Like I wanted to do so many things back then. I realized that the gaps were in technology, in legal stuff, and in culture. And I found kind of my niche in building communities, organizing space, events, teams to get into nice initiatives. And I have done a bunch of works in the crypto world, and now I'm doing Collabberry, which is basically, we'll go deeper into that, but it's basically a tool for accounting on people's values and efforts towards a team. That's me. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. I'm Andrew. I'm from the United States, from California. I have a background in filmmaking, so I've been doing advertising and feature narrative filmmaking, documentary filmmaking mostly in the last 15 years around permaculture, systems design, regenerative systems design. And then moved to Germany last year, got married to a beautiful German woman, and have been now connecting with the community out here, and yeah, just really excited by what's going on in Europe, and focusing a lot on like how to do storytelling for translating a lot of this systems change work to the wider audiences, but also within the community. I think there's a lot of need for just like people tell their stories about what we're doing. So yeah, coming from that angle as a bit of an outsider, but also very much in this world for a long time. So yeah, and what you're doing in terms of the like reward system piece is a really big focus that I don't know a lot about it on a technical level, but it's been a big puzzle piece that I've been wondering about and talking with folks about for a long time, like a decade. So I'm super excited about this conversation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Where in Germany are you?
I was in Bavaria, northern Bavaria, like south of Frankfurt. We just moved actually, and we're kind of like floating around looking for the next spot.
Nice. You didn't come last week to Berlin to the Funding the Commons event, did you?
No, we've been down in Italy for the last like 2 months, but yeah, no, I saw that. That looked like a really good gathering.
It was a great event. I'm just coming from there. It was great.
Cool.
Oliver, you want to share?
Let's go. So, yeah, I am a multifaceted creator of new paradigm things. I would mainly describe myself as a systems architect, looking at whole systems. I integrate multiple different projects into holistic blueprints that show the interactivity of different components. I also love getting really granular on like the purpose of each different part of a system and understanding how the interaction between different parts create emergent properties, and how to steer those emergent properties towards a beneficial direction. So that's quite a technical way of describing how my mind tends to work. But I will mention while I'm here that relating to what you guys have created with Collabberry, this is also an area that's been very interesting for me. It's like, okay, how do we distribute value and have this shared understanding of what is valuable our working teams, and obviously that's to be tuned in every working environment, which I think is kind of the point of what you guys are doing, is to give people the tools to help define what that is for them. So I wanted to drop the others on this call probably don't know this, but about 4 years ago, I published a research paper that I was co-working on with another guy called Spirit Love Roots, called the Value Mapping Project, that's basically mapped out the possible spectrum of like 17 different categories of like different things we could consider, not that we must consider, but we could consider, and that different teams could consider in you know what's valuable. So it's kind of outdated, but when we were talking about this, it might be useful, and I'm happy to share the link, even though it's some of my very old work, because that question and that paper never tried to address the practicality like you guys are with project. Okay, let's define it, let's set it, and then let's actually measure it and account it. it was more like laying the playing field of like what are some different things and considerations of how different people assess value and what is valuable for society. So yeah, it's a topic I'm deeply connected to. All about restoring the commons too. So I love to hear about that conference last week, and look forward to joining many more of those when I'm back in Europe in a couple of weeks. Right now I'm in Bali, Indonesia.
Nice, exciting. Thank you. Bart, you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. I feel somewhat of a butterfly on the wall today. I jumped in because I saw this possibility to be part of this conversation, and I think this is a very interesting meeting to be at. I'm a network weaver and a vision catalyst, and currently my main involvements are Coherence and Hive. I would say these are my most vital leverage points. That's what I do as a network weaver, find the most promising projects, and then, where I find most resonance, I also love to go deeper and help bring these visions to life. And yeah, I know Gus and Collabberry a little bit, and I also find this a very interesting topic. I was just thinking, I also have been working on a value flow model that I used when I was collaborating with someone a few years ago. Also pre-revenue, and was like, okay, how do we actually track our contributions, and how is that going to be compensated at a later stage when revenue comes in? It wasn't a full model yet, but it was good enough for me to get started, and I think it's a very interesting topic to dive into. And maybe also from Hive's perspective, I'm not sure if we will be able to touch upon it, but with Hive we aim to build this tool for knowledge sharing for whole ecosystems of organizations, and also there we want to track contributions and give right attributions, and maybe some kind of point system, token system. We haven't really figured that out yet, but I think there is also very interesting space to explore together, to what extent Collabberry could be of service to that, and maybe even just in terms of intellectual development and exchange, that could be interesting to dive into. So yeah, otherwise I'd love to hand it over to you guys, and I'd love to be here as a kind of spectator that sometimes whispers something into the sky.
Nice. Yeah, I will jump directly into both the issue and the vision, right? And how to value people's performance, how to value people's contributions. Starting from the point that value is the most objective, probably the most objective things of them all. That if we have learned something from markets, for the good or for the bad, it's like there is some kind of consented way to bring objectivity to value when we put things in prices, right? That we confuse a price of something by the value of that. That is beneficial in many ways because that creates efficiency and allows economy just to move forward. While it's also true that this economy of markets, when organizing or coordinating in that way, it's also get rid and don't take into consideration a lot of the externalities, right? And that's why we have an economy that is just optimizing for price efficiency. So we don't give a fuck if we just destroy the earth, as long this is the price, the cost of this will be lower and the benefits of this will be higher, because we have that metrics focusing there. As regards human labor, I think the externalities are quite different. And when people set a price, let's say for their commitment into an organization, they are, or at least they should be, into full accountability on deciding what that price, what they are carrying with. That from one side, and from the other side, also some awareness about what the organization is actually capable to. from one side is capable to pay you back, and for the other side is actually willing to appreciate a person with such a value. And please don't let me just talk and bring a monologue here. We're looking for, yes, please go on, Oliver.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love what you're showing, and a key question I have, which you're touching on slightly here, is from when I read the website, it seems like the initial primary focus is people coming together within, let's say, an organizational setting, a team working on something, and then entering into this process of defining what they consider valuable, and maybe some type of like live update and live tracking that can help establish those scales, right? My question is following, but before I ask it, did I get that right?
Yeah, very much.
Okay,
and when people, and the process to get people to set that number, that market rate, let's say, is basically to see themselves what is their opportunity cost. Like if you are a software engineer, if you are a filmmaker, if you are whatever, and you will be able to find a job that fulfills your needs, how much you will ask for that job, considering that you're just giving yourself to another organization, person, whatever. When people gather together in the same team with their vision and they're willing to work together and to create this new shared project, there is a difference because we are not working for someone else. We are building our own thing right now. So at least the behavior that I've observed from traditional organizations is like, okay, this is mine. I don't need to put a price on that because this is mine and this is with my project that I don't need to put on that. So we will figure out later how to split the cake. And that, in my experience as an entrepreneur, has been a big mistake because I'm trusting that I'm good with it right now. I'm gonna be good with that in the future, and I'm trusting the same for everyone else because what we do is just to work, do the shit, be productive, and deliver something to the market, to the earth, to the impact, or whatever you guys are or you guys or the organization is doing. And that, in my experience, caused a lot of issues in the long run. And the statistics says that out of the 100% of the startups that fail, 65 of them are for conflicts related to or to share issuances or to other internal conflicts of alignment. So Collabberry is actually willing to solve both parts. It's not only the accounting part, but also the, hey, let's take accountability on this. On the second part, we are not ready there. It's more, this is what I'm putting in the vision. We can talk about that later on how to solve personal, interrelational, and groups accountability. But the way that we do that is by making them accountable or on their self-accounting and also on accepting like, hey, yes, Gustavo is value $10,000 a month. We don't have to pay Gustavo that, but we want to recognize that value, not in the form of money, but in the forms of accounting points. Because now we have blockchain and now we have the ability to just mint that and make that in a trustworthy way, making sure that in the long run this will be tamper-proof to someone changing the numbers. That's the only reason why we are on a blockchain and not on an Excel file. But again, in the proper,
Sorry to interrupt you. I think that's a key aspect for people to feel like they can invest themselves safely into projects, right? Is that they feel like the time is not being abused and that the like if you think of any relationship, whether with a romantic partner or business partner, as soon as there's the impression that I'm not seen for what I bring to the table, that my contributions are not valued, then that's like the beginning of like a big tumble through effect of a lot of chaotic destruction. But when you can actually say, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this, not that they needed to see me, but that I did it because I wanted to do it for the project, that creates a different psychological dynamic, right? But nonetheless,
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, please.
Nonetheless, like just like you mentioned, you're in a collaborative environment, and you might be charging a corporate company 10,000 a month for your consulting services, but in that environment, you might want to invest differently. And I'm curious, aside from like the accounting of value in your system, which obviously we haven't really dived into fully, so it's hard to assess. But is there a way of like providing in a way like this discount of saying, yeah, I'm worth this much, but I really care about this project. So, for this project, I'm giving 3x diminishment of my normal worth, which is going to contribute, for example, to my token holding of the project versus like my salary, because I'm transferring that value into soft equity. Right? So is that type of dynamic also something you're imagining?
Yes, but I think I have a slightly, or we, the project, have a slightly different perspective. I'll do. It's configurable to each organization to configure that. I see that in a form of a multiplier, actually, or maybe compound interest, something that is a feature that we don't have now, but it's programmable. We will be able to put something like that if we realize that people are demanding it. But the way that I see that is more on, hey, I'm investing my time, my effort in the long run for it. So yes, I have like emotional incentive to come here, but in the moment that I accept the equity of if what we are sharing, if what we are agreeing to share in our organization, these points are just equity, I'm also accepting the risk of us not to be able to succeed, right? So when there is risk implying, there should be a multiplier to expand that, to even earn more than my original value of $10,000 a month. So this is the way. That's the logic that we use for designing this beta product in the first place. But this is regarding equity. We made in order to bring more, let's say, possibilities to usage of those endpoints, because with this what I've been calling equity so far is just a primitive that we call team points, and it's a primitive to each organization to build upon what they want. The first and more easy one is equity, so people can just use directly this token point as equity. They might be using this as debt, so when there is like a short time projection of revenue, it's like, hey, I've been putting some money, some value on behalf, I'm accounting for this, and when we have this, I will be cashing back, so that will have a different multipliers, maybe some interest as well. And the thing will be about building the tool set on how to lead people to actually govern what are the conditions or parameters in which they will allow, hey, this is only full of equity, or only 20% you can cash back as debt, or guess what, maybe we are projecting a utility for this token, so it's even more liquid, and this is more like for following legal construct shit. And for being able to put these tokens that I'm earning just in a secondary market, and since we are creating utility for a digital product, then demand will be raised and the price will be led by those markets, and I could get further or even less revenue from that. I will take the risk in putting those tokens into market. So the aim of this project is to give each team the flexibility and the freedom and the sovereignty, first and all, for them to decide what to do. Today, the possibilities are limited to what we have developed so far, and of course to the team's imaginations and their own development capabilities upon or on top this primitive that we are delivering in the first place. So that's a little bit the vision regarding this accounting system. And before confusing you guys into the vision that I have with AI agents and governance and people's interrelations, that's another topic maybe for another call.
I wanted to just ask quickly, it sounds like maybe the answer is yes, but do you have plans for integrating it into like governance, like weighted governance models?
I mean, weighted, yes. The question is how to weight governance, right? And again, this is something in which I have my opinion on that. I will influence my team on how to weight our governance. I just want to provide, I just want to, to develop the tools that will facilitate teams to take their own decisions on that.
But it can include governance as well as reward, is what you're saying.
I mean, of course, I mean, Collabberry tokens, I mean, the tokens that we produce Collabberry are the best governance tokens out there. Personal Gustavo's opinion.
Cool.
For me, the main issues of DAOs is that they focus on, let's take decisions together, and they focus on the outcome, on the final decision, and yes, now we can vote and boom, this is the decision, but fuck, who's taking care about how to actually to weight these tokens that is actually giving governance access and deliberation power to people. So Collabberry is doing that step back. We are not in the governance fight yet, but we are more okay. Let's just provide a very simple way to track people's value and to make them consent on how much value each one of them are getting out of initial agreements, because what we do is just it's an initial agreement. There are rounds of peer review, many rounds, and the outcome of each of these rounds is just points to each one on the people. That will depend, of course, out of these initial agreements, and another function of is an algorithmic function of the aggregation of people's rating multiplied for what we agreed here and delivering that final outcome.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
So I saw some recent updates that allowed also to put some manual contributions into the system, which I was really happy to see. I'm just curious, like, can you share a bit more, like, how adaptable is this model? Because the baseline is you have a monthly salary, let's say, that's being backed every month. But how adaptable is it with other kind of contributions or fluctuations during the months? Because sometimes, you know, one month you're fully available, the other month you're not. And, you know, how does the system work with that?
It's fully adaptable. We just need a benevolent dictator to take those kind of decisions. That's not the dream, of course, but it's how we can provide that adaptability in this early stage. And of course, we need people to know what they are doing. Because if an administrator is just taking decisions and just providing this token for this token for that, and this token for that, if they don't create enough transparency with the team about why they are doing that, people, or they just don't give a shit that that's a possibility, or it creates a friction like, hey, what are you doing here? So It's always advisable when people use that manual allocation to assign extra tokens, or when, for example, Bart, you are committing this month 100% of your time, but next month you realize, was actually I have other shit to do and I need to commit less. And maybe in the third month it's like, okay, maybe 30%. So this implies a change in the agreement, right? And that from one side you can take independently, like, yeah, I want to change your agreement. Maybe it's a smooth thing that the organization wouldn't take care about. So, okay, if you cannot commit more, that's it. But right now, like, this person to organization agreement settling is not there yet. Because the governance part is not there yet. We want this to be as smooth as possible governance. Like, for that, we need what I'm calling a smart agreement that is bringing the way to solve that is to bring a agent handling conversations between peers, between all kind of peers, where they can signal their how much in favor they are on each decisions to change the agreement, or if they have any concern. If that concern is actually a veto, because maybe if you Bart tell me, no, I need to work more next month, and I'm an agent that I realize, hey, like, for example, I'm the finance responsible there, and I'm like, sorry, Bart, this is messing up with our financial projections, so I can veto that. Right now, the ways to solve with that is just having people need to have that conversation, and we give admin powers to people that we trust that will actually represent the benefits of them all. Someone that is listening and understanding people's needs as well as the organizational needs in a way. So again, just to finish, what we did right now is coordination for doing that. And what teams need today for coordination is to have a person that they can trust. Yes.
Andrew, do you have a question? Or?
I have many questions. But I kind of wanted to ask some specific questions that might guide us towards how the two projects can sync together. But Oliver, maybe you had a broader question before that, or were you just noticing me?
I was noticing. I also have some ideas of how we can kind of flow in that same direction, but.
Yeah, well, I was wondering. I was actually going to pass the mic to you to maybe give like a really, quick summary of what we're doing with Hive, and then take it away, and then I'll follow up if there's anything that I think of.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. So I think there's a very natural and beautiful synergy here between the approach of Collabberry and Hive. Hive is focused on providing initially organizations with a space where they can understand their own organizational intelligence better, where they can see all of the calls that they've been in, all the meeting notes, all of the procedures, all of the value distributions from their Collabberry discussions, like having all that information become empowering and actionable. And from that place, the system is having enough intelligence to be able to start suggesting to different organizations to share some of their information to the broader ecosystem. So, for example, an organization might have a really good process for governance. Another organization might have some permaculture techniques they're documenting, etc. And those unique pieces of IP right now are not on the internet. They're in private groups and private contexts. And the purpose of the Hive is to help to enable people to document that, first of all, as I said, to understand themselves, and as a kind of secondary effect, which later becomes a primary function, to be able to share and interact with the broader regenerative ecosystem and create a greater interconnectivity of all of the knowledge, wisdom that is out there. And so what I can do very briefly, just to kind of give you a visual of this, is show you like one example interface of what that could actually look and feel like if you guys want. Okay, share screen. Hold on, I need to enable share screen. Give me 10 seconds, guys.
Oliver, or sorry, Gus, I just wanted to say that the like imagery and branding on Collabberry is fucking awesome. I love those like solar punk graphic novel, like really dope, really nice.
Nice. Cancy is our artist lead. He's actually doing great shit there.
Really cool. Yeah.
Sorry guys, I just had to restart my browser to enable screen share, but I think now it will be fine. Okay. Okay, so let me just do this. Do you guys see this?
Yeah.
You see the camera? Okay,
We're seeing ourselves kind of.
You don't see the Canva
No,
render?
this is Google Meet.
It says you are presenting. To avoid an infinity mirror, don't share your entire screen or browser window. We're in an infinity mirror, Oliver.
I mean, infinitive mirrors are cool.
That's what we are, right? A hall of infinite mirrors.
Aren't we always in an infinity mirror? There we go.
Can you guys see this now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, to go very briefly, like everyone knows here, the challenge in the regenerative space is a lot of knowledge is remaining trapped, efforts are getting duplicated all across the ecosystem, and key connections are being missed. In most cases, there's someone that has the exact solution for a problem that someone has somewhere in the ecosystem, but they're not getting matched to the right people, and you have to be kind of lucky with synchronicity to end up connecting with them. So what the Hive does is it solves that problem by helping organizations actually document their processes, like I was talking about, where you would, for example, have your organizational space, see all of your documents, your processes, your meetings, your media, your resources, and in the future, the more stuff you can log about what you're doing, the better it can serve you, right? And then you have your AI assistant, where you can ask questions about anything that's going on in your universe. Like what's the best practice for permaculture garden bed design that we discussed a few calls ago? And it's going to tell you, oh, that you were discussing about this technology in your team call, and these are the guys who made that technology. And so this would be like an example of that workflow.
Oliver, we lost your screen again. I don't know. Was it intentional?
No.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I feel it's important. You did so much effort to get the screen on.
You see it now again?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So yeah, that would be like the dialogue you have with the AI here, and it would pull up all of the documents relating to what you just discussed and kind of show you the workflow. But now let's say as an organization, you actually want to research something that's actually happening within the ecosystem. Then you go into what we call the dynamic wiki system. So, I might say, oh, based on our mission for designing a garden, what would you suggest is the best approach? I have no idea where to start. So it will like analyze your mission. Okay, it's for this purpose. These are the design principles. And then it will pull up from the repository all of the different approaches that might fit the use case of what you're trying to achieve. For example, the one that he discussed last week, the open bed spiral geometry, has a 5-star rating of why it might be a perfect match for this community case. So what's happening here in this vision of this dynamic wiki is that all of these individual information pieces about how to design the garden are not just being pulled from the internet. They're coming from all of the individual spaces organizational spaces of key contributors in the ecosystem that have actually contributed a piece of technology relating to this topic. When they contribute it, they get suggested if they want to share it with your commons, and with different layers of the commons, they can define under what terms, can people reuse it, can people improve it, do they have to contribute it back to the commons. All of these things can get defined at the sharing point. And then it ends up in the common pool of knowledge, which is able to inform this type of search engine to support individual projects. So this is kind of why we call it Hive, is because it's able to aggregate information from the whole ecosystem. It's able to help show knowledge gaps, suggest edits, to even like this intelligence function to be able to say, oh, this part of the ecosystem doesn't have a lot of information about it. You're an expert. Do you want to document some stuff? Or your organization has key protocols that others need because it can analyze the metadata of your organization. Do you want to share that and get access points, which allow you to access more of other people's stuff too? So it's like, how do you gamify this process of curating knowledge while not only like inviting people into this type of system because they want to share and connect, which is cool, a lot of us do, because they're actually going to receive more value back from it in terms of their efficiency and their productivity. And the last part of the system is like, yeah, that gamification part, how to encourage people to contribute, to create achievements of like, okay, I'm contributing knowledge cards, I'm curating things, I'm getting points for my recent contributions in the commons. I'm getting actions suggested to me that can earn me points for helping to curate information. So yeah, in a nutshell, the Hive is intended to create this organizational space where you can understand what's going on and you can connect with the wisdom from the ecosystem and implement that in your own project. It's like the collective brain regenerative movement. Now, we haven't tackled at all how do those teams that are even getting that content organize internally to themselves and make their own governance decisions and allocate value, which is kind of the Collabberry piece. But what we focus on is the interconnectivity of information in the regenerative movement.
Yeah, I see it like a knowledge management system empowered with AI and Hive magic kind of thing. Is that a good description?
Yeah, it's collective intelligence, knowledge management system.
Nice.
With AI.
And I saw there like tracking features. You see it's also like a project management thing where people can trace where a specific project is going, who to ping if something is missing, who to ping for consulting, accessing for information, or maybe even calling for action or consulting or asking to take a decision. Are those parts included in the vision as well?
It depends how. In the bigger scope, yes. In the more immediate term, the way it would empower an organization is that Hive agent that joins our Zoom call instead of Fathom, or the API link to Fathom or whatever note taker, is feeding the information into your organizational space, seeing the actions of who do what, and then all of those users have connected their own system, maybe use Notion, maybe use Asana, whatever, and that action then being pushed to the place they're already using to do project management. So that would be one example workflow of the way that the Hive starts to automate processes for organizations. But in the there's many cases like this where maybe we discussed the updated approach for our strategy. Maybe this was our board meeting, and then the Hive can aggregate that information, help you write the document about it, and then publish it in the relevant place of your organization as the new standard. So it is kind of your knowledge layer of your organization, your knowledge system, and then from that it can send it to different applications and different systems your organization already uses. And in the process, it makes it easy on an ecosystem level to share that knowledge too, because the Hive understands who's doing what and suggest, hey, you should share this because other people would really benefit from it. But you may not know that. right? And by sharing it, you get points, and those points allow you to do other things of value within the knowledge ecosystem, for example.
Well,
so
yeah. Sorry, I was
you
just going
could
to say there's the matchmaking and like resource pairing is maybe more of an emphasis than project management. It's saying you have this organization needs that, let's make that connection, vice versa.
right.
Yeah. Okay. No, the reason why I'm asking is basically one need that I have from the Collabberry perspective. Yes, we do accounting. The question is accounting on what? Especially when we do peer reviews. When I'm engaging in the peer review that is taking 15 minutes for a team of maybe 10 minutes for a team of 5 people, it's based on my own subjective perspective on what people have done during this month, okay, during this cycle. And that for me, like I've been present in my organization and committing 50% of my work to what is happening. I have already experience in meetings, in Discord, in asking for in making a request and having or not a response back. So that's built in my own subjective persona.
Mm.
At the end of the month, an idea, a subjective idea on how I will rate people. So the first question that came to me when I was saying this expectation is like, will this tool actually help me for when I haven't been that present in a team, and I just can go there and build myself an idea on how I should uh, rate someone in the future? Will this tool actually be able to advise me on how I will rate someone in terms of how much they did
Mm.
or how much they actually didn't? And this is just question from my bias perspective right now that I'm putting there on the table.
I think a good way to think about that question is in different stages. I think the first use case where the answer to your question is yes, it would be super helpful, is if your organization is mainly a knowledge working organization, where the
Okay.
different contributors of the organization are logging publications, logging reports, logging methodologies, creating new intellectual content. In that case, it would be 100% incredibly easy to measure what people have done. Now, taking a step further from just a knowledge organization, if it's an organization that is then using productivity tools, like Asana, Monday, Notion, all of these things, Slack, Telegram group chats, WhatsApp, the Hive will be able to integrate into all those places in order to aggregate the information that's going on there for that organization to know. So although it wasn't a primary feature we've been imagining, technically speaking, the data streams are available to be aggregated in one place for the Hive to be able to have some degree of understanding of the amount of engagement of each member. So to be able to then from that derive some type of participation score based on what it can see within the connected channels would be possible. But in a lot of organizations, a lot of work is not documented in those channels. A lot of work is on the ground or in the garden or in your own private note-taking system. And so at that point, there's kind of two paths you can take, which ultimately would be both to accurately capture that contribution. One is the self-reporting path, which you mentioned on, like someone would need to say, I've done this on this day, this is how many hours I took, this, just an honor system, self-reporting. And then the other path is to gradually over time, without using technology instead of human, of course, but including technology in the right way that it can help capture that unique essence. I give you an example. Imagine that every day a creator in a project just does a 5-minute audio journal to their assistant of what they did that day and what they achieved, and it asks them a few questions. And from that journal, it's documenting those less tangible things into their personal Hive, helping them track their progress and their overall knowledge and what their realizations and their personal journey, but also kind of contributing the missing data. So in the end, when we talk about a data aggregating approach and knowledge kind of extrapolation approach that the Hive enables, it always comes down to what are the data points it's feeding from.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Guys, there are only 8 minutes left. I mean, I can stand a little bit more, but just to wrap up our conversation today, I'm curious about what do you guys see as next steps? Like, I super love what you presented there, Oliver. I saw huge opportunities for collaboration. We are also working in some AI management systems. Yeah, more no more on governance, but also more on coaching interrelations among people. Like, since we are closing the feedback loop, we will be actually generating context about how people are seeing each other. So this could create context for, hey, an AI say, hey, I need to have to talk with this guy. Do you want me to propose a nonviolent communication approach meeting or something like that? Um, and I see in your tool a huge opportunity to expand this context for each of organizations. Like, it's the main thing that I see there. But coming back to ground, to what's available today, I will start by asking you guys, would you be kind in starting using the Collabberry tool? Do you need any more explanations from myself? How do you see that?
I would say the next step is probably to maybe do a deeper dive with Yannick involved in the conversation. He's doing a lot of the development. There's a team, but he's kind of like in the lead right now. So maybe what we can do is we can share this conversation with him, kind of get him up to date, and then just have a follow-up and see about more ways of integrating what he's building with what you've already built.
Nice. How many people are you in total?
Depends how you count.
There's
We have
sort
like
of
four of the core team in Hive, and then Yannick is kind of the extension towards the symbiosis and Hive Mind team, who are doing
Okay.
more of the technical development at this point. That's with Gian Andrea and a bunch of others. So I feel like we're kind of like some kind of force towards for the bigger vision, and then from there, we're connected with different partners because this vision is so much bigger than just this team. It requires a whole ecosystem of development partners to bring it to life.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm more referring to what is that core team or what is that single holons of teams that will
so
be
so
kind
there's
and start experimenting with this, and then we can think actually about that's the part that excites me the most, by the way,
there's a
to have like
development
different
yeah there's a
teams
development
and
team of
yeah.
like 3 people right now, I think 3 or 4, I guess, who are more on this. So basically right now we're working. Hive is a conglomeration of already of several different organizations, and I think what our main mission is to start pulling a bunch of magnetizing a bunch of different organizations together, because there's so many components that are needed to make a system like this work. So in terms of the development of the infrastructure of what Oliver is describing, I guess also Neil is doing something. So yeah, we are magnetizing more and more, but there's a core team on the development side of ours, which is like 4, and then there's Neil's team, and then part of what's going on in Coherence is we're just kind of trying to get more and more people together. So but yeah, we're holding this like space of collaboration and trying to really figure out how do we not reinvent the wheel and have to design everything ourselves, but partner with people like you who have already got a big piece of the puzzle. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the goal. Absolutely. Cool.
So yeah, maybe we just I can take the lead on maybe scheduling a follow-up call. I don't know if we want to try to do it as a Coherence call, or whether it happens afterwards. Gus, I don't know what your kind of next couple weeks looks like. I know Oliver's got a lot going on in the next couple weeks, but I can check in with Yannick. What do you think, Gus? When would be a good time? I guess also I want to check in with you, just sort of in a very vague sense, like what your development timeline is. Like you're talking about the governance stuff, and like where, like when is your next big like rollout happening? What do you need to do the next rollout? This is maybe more than we have,
Okay.
but you get the idea.
Yeah, this makes sense. Like right now, we're focusing on automating standard tokens payments according to the value distributed with the Collabberry primitive with the team points. For example, there is this Gardens DAO right now. They already have their Gardens tokens. This is the way to pay their community with, also when they have ETH or stablecoins or whatever. But they want to use their own token to as a way to incentivization. So this is what we are building right now, that to use the Collabberry primitive to enable to just bring them to push on a bottom, and this will trigger a query to a multisig that will just demand another signature there, for then to the distribution according to Collabberry distribution will. Sorry, I just messed it up. I think that you had the idea. That's the next thing that we are doing. After that, we need to see. I'm in the race for looking for funding, both in as grants. But so far, we have lived out of grants. But I'm also building the business case to go for a pre-seed round.
Mm-hmm.
When we got that pre-seed round, things for this governance agent will be more clear. Like so far, I've been vibe coding to test the idea of this prototype, and it's working. It's not working enough like to put it in as a product and to offer it to
Well,
our clients.
I have a feeling that maybe a conversation with Yannick and possibly Jean Andrea could be helpful with, because they're deeply involved in like the AI agent development right now. So I guess maybe a different question is when would be a good time for you to have a conversation? Maybe let's say like 2 weeks out or after, to kind of get deeper on how we can all start to collaborate together.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to me. Whatever, I'm open
Okay.
to this conversation. Of course, this is what I'm giving my time for.
Okay.
So, I mean, actually, this week is hard for me because I'm in this conference here right now. But yeah, next week or the following one will be good enough. And
Great.
I just
Okay.
the only week that I'm going to be out is the July 17th, I think.
Okay.
Because Boom Festival is happening. But other than that,
Nice.
are you going to Boom, Bart, by any chance, or you guys?
No, but
No.
Yannick and some of the guys from Villa Gaia are going, so that's when you can meet them.
Nice.
But
Nice.
That's
So
it.
let's meet Yannick before that, so we can also take advantage and and think for Boom.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys can take some acid together and solve all the problems, and it'll all be great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, I'll set
Nice.
something up.
Acid, what acid? I don't take that shit.
Okay, all right. No, forget it. Forget it. Um, yeah. Okay. Cool. So I'll set something up before then. If nothing else, just like a little intro, so you guys can meet up. And yeah, sounds awesome. I mean, I think Gus, what you guys are developing is awesome, and like is a big piece of the puzzle of what a lot of this infrastructure has been needing and really needs. So thank you for doing that.
Nice.
And really excited to keep talking about it and figure out how we can all weave it together.
Nice. Thank you for the appreciation. That makes us feel really, really nice, especially because adoption is not easy for our team. Like, yeah, a lot of people resonate, and at the time of okay, let's adopt it. There is like a showstopper in a way. But I trust that little by little, people will use it. We just need conviction, and yeah, people that want to grow on this. Yeah, this is the dream too. Let's just do it. And I trust that we will be able to work together on that, especially after meeting Yannick. So I'm looking forward to that. And thank you guys as well for what you are building. Like, we need a lot of sense making in organizational design and cross organizational design, mainly like that. This is like diminishing a lot of those informational costs, not only within organizations, but also many other organizations working on the same things. We need more conscious competition when we are developing stuff, and I think like you guys will enable that, while enabling also a lot of collaboration at the same time. So it seems like the dream is coming together as well with you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, the goal is to compete to share. Who can share the most?
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you're playing poker and you win the poker things and you're excited, that then you are like sharing shots and drinks with everyone.
Yes,
Yeah, like that.
totally.
Cool.
Fun, guys. So looking forward for our next meeting. Thank you, Bart, for joining. Thank you, Andrew, Oliver, for coming. So let's
Thanks, guys.
stay in touch.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll be in
Have a good
touch.
one.
All the
Ciao.
best,
Right.
guys.
And please,
Hey guys.
please share the photo note taker if you're open to it, please.
For sure. Yeah, we'll do.
Nice.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Hey, guys.